What specifically was he suggesting that the U.S. military should do to these protesters?
He says, can't you just shoot them? Just shoot them in the legs or something. And he's suggesting that that's what we should do, that we should bring in the troops and shoot the protesters.
The commander-in-chief was suggesting that the U.S. military shoot protesters.
Yes, in the straits of our nation's capital. That's right.
That's the former Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper, telling you that Donald Trump wanted to shoot protesters in the leg so he could have a photo op in front of a church and hold a Bible upside down with his daughter standing there, who brought the Bible in her, $5,000 designer purse. What? True. That's what we're learning about his. Really? And people are going to make the decision that they want that. They want that kind of chaos to replace. The Supreme Court shredded the saying shredded the Constitution is really kind. It's not that they shredded, it's that they just said, see this? Pfft, we don't need it anymore. They didn't even bother to shred it. They just tossed it. They threw it out. And they replaced it with their own white Christian nationalism. That's what they did.
I almost want to slow down on firsthand accounts of how despicable he is, because the people who are appalled by hearing that, we couldn't be any more appalled by him. But his supporters, when they hear that, they get excited. Just
Good,
like when
I don't care. There's only
hear,
one of them.
They hear tapes that he's a racist, they get excited. They
I
hear
don't
he's
care.
disrespecting women, they get excited.
There's not enough of them, Brett. You constantly forget that we're talking about independents who pick the president. That's who picks the president. Okay? There aren't enough maggots in this country to make Donald Trump the president. There weren't the first time. There wasn't in 2020. Obviously, he lost. And there aren't now. There just aren't now. So obviously, all of this doubt about Biden is aimed directly at independent voters. It's aimed at people who live in swing states who could, vote for one or the other, okay? Or stay home. And we need to communicate to those decent, independent people what kind of chaos we would be inviting in to replace what is relatively a peaceful nation, okay? We're not at war. We haven't been at war. Joe Biden ended a 20-year war. Some people were very upset that 13 service members were killed as we exited a 20-year war. I get it, but that's the price for a 20-year war ending. This is not about MAGA. I don't care about MAGA. MAGA are fools. They demonstrate how gullible they are every time they defend this person who does not consider them human, who considers them less than himself, who considers them poorly educated. Or there's my African American. He literally tells you what he thinks of you, that you're a sucker, that you're a loser, and not just the military. People who weren't willing to cheat, people who aren't willing to steal, people who aren't willing to sacrifice their friends, okay, and their friendships in order to enrich themselves. He thinks they're all suckers. He thinks they're all losers. If you're not willing to sell, like America's mayor, Rudy Giuliani, down the river, if you're not willing to, have him disbarred because you've made him a sycophant to the point where you say, I got you. I got you. Just go and, lie to the legislature. Just go and tell them there was fraud when there was. Go tell that guy in Arizona. Remember him? Rusty, the older man. Remember? And he went out there and lied to him, and he was a smart guy, and he said, do you have the names of these people who cheated? Do you have the names of anybody who voted illegally in my state? The Speaker of the House in Arizona. And he said, I do. I'm just not going to give it to. And he says, I'm not playing this game. I'm not doing it. I'm not having it. Right? Well, who lost that battle? Rudy Giuliani got disbarred for doing that. Donald Trump is still running for president. And he thinks anybody who values their friendships or values their relationships or values their businesses or their integrity or their own character is a dope. A dope. And anybody who isn't, I don't know, a graduate of the Wharton School of Business is garbage. It's the stuff that gets stuck on the bottom of his shoe. And here's the mistake people always make. When it comes to autocrats, they think that the autocrats' hatred won't spew into their lives. Somehow because they were loyal to him, or somehow because they elevated him, or they defended him to their friends and relatives, somehow it's not going to come back and bite them in the ass. And it always does. It always does. Next thing you know, your country is in ruins. It's rubble. It's garbage. And he's either fled to Argentina or he kills himself. Or, lucky him, dies of natural causes.
I have a feeling Melania will not be in the basement with a suicide wound with him.
I don't know. I don't know her. I honestly don't know her. But you remember, what's her face? She said she wanted to die and leave a beautiful corpse. I could see Melania thinking that way. Remember? She said, what's her name?
Ava Braun?
Yeah. She said she wanted to eat the cyanide tablet instead of blowing her brains out because she wanted to be a beautiful corpse. Now, Hitler, he was so concerned about, not killing himself, missing and being, brain dead or, needing medical help or whatever in his bunker. So he decided to do both. He bit down on the cyanide tab and shot his brains out so that there was no chance he would survive, And MAGA actually thinks, I know they do, that's an act of courage. That's an act of courage. God will send you to hell for everything Hitler did, but especially for the killing of himself. You know that, right? Mm-hmm. Good. Jahari in Michigan.
Hello, my dear. How
Hi.
are you?
Oh, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm worried. I am. I'm worried about, I'm worried about what is going on because the media is not making any sort of delineation between a felon and a not felon.
And I think, and that's clearly by design. They've been doing the both siding thing just like they did Hillary.
Yeah.
They've been trying to demonize her.
Yep.
But I think that there's a fix for the Supreme Court decision. Yeah. Adam Schiff 2 years ago passed the Protecting Our Democracy Act, and if you read it, it fixes a lot of guardrail buttresses or shores up guardrails.
Hey, Jahari, do you remember HR 1? You remember that? Nancy
yes.
Pelosi, HR 1. Yeah, that would solve all of it. It would take money out of politics. It undid Citizens United. It actually did everything you would want to see done. Everything.
But would it specifically undo the Supreme Court decision?
We could expand the Supreme Court. I mean, but we have to have a legislature that's willing to do it. We're owed 4 seats. Trump knows that.